Today at approximately 2:30 p.m. in the afternoon, I look out my window and I see Alex Rosen for the first time in person outside with the Rockville Centre Police Department. How you doing, Alex?
Great. Glad to be here. I love Rockville Centre.
Well, Rockville Centre loves you today. I mean, I don't know if anybody or everyone knows what you do, but give us a quick synopsis about what you were doing there today.
So we have a group called Predator Poachers where we catch online child predators across the country. I'm from Houston, Texas, but obviously I'm in Rockville Centre right now. And we have arrests in 46 different states, convictions in 40, including here in New York. And typically what we do is we pose as minors online, and predators from across the country message us under the assumption that we're minors and set up sexual meetings or get sexual in the messages. And we approach them on camera in person and get them to admit to crimes, whether it's to the assumed underage kid or more in a lot of cases. And we turn over the evidence to law enforcement, and very often it leads to an arrest like it did today.
From contacting this person and how you contacted them, how long did it take for you to reach out or have this person, I guess, take the bait and then show up and then have Rockville Centre Police? They did arrest the guy.
Okay. Yeah. He was charged with a Marvin Guerrero. He's charged with a Class E felony and a Class A misdemeanor. And the way he found us is we were just in a group on a social media site, and we just kind of put an ad out there just saying, looking for people to talk. And he messages our account first, and we tell him that we're 13 years old. He has no reservations about the age, and this happened like in mid-December. And over the course of the conversation leading up to today, he sends multiple penis pictures, solicits sex multiple times, getting into a lot of detail, talking about stuff that we probably wouldn't even sext our girlfriends is what he's saying. And we give him an address to meet at. He shows up, goes right into the apartment doors, which happen to be your apartments that you live at. And he doesn't see the girl there, so he walks out, and I'm like, hey, Marvin, or I guess I didn't know his name was Marvin at the time. I'm like, hey, Matt, let's go talk about these messages. And he agrees to talk to me, but then he kind of bolts to his car, and I shout out like, dude, I just want to have a talk. I know where you work. And he's just like, and then he just comes and goes to the corner with me and has a conversation, ends up admitting to some stuff.
Where were you at the time when you were sending all these messages out? Like, where was this localized? Like, were you sending out like this? Was this person, this fictitious person, were they in this area?
Yeah, so the person who was posing was my camera guy in the background. He was identifying as a 13-year-old girl, which I think is very brave of him. And the person's pictures we were using is one of my other associates. She usually does most of the decoying, which is, talking as the underage kid, but we were just using her pictures in this case. Right. And he full on thought that we were in Rockville Centre. So
right. So I'm getting caught up because I'm so flabbergasted. Like, these things happen everywhere, right? And no one wants to think it happens in your own neighborhood, but they think, oh, Rockville Centre, it's a nice little town, nothing really happens here, but it's happening. I mean, it's happening everywhere, right?
No, 100%. I mean, this guy, Marvin Guerrero, he had a wife and a little baby. He's 31 years old. And so he showed up like under the pretense to have sex. He showed me the condom that he brought, admitted that he wanted to have sex with this girl, said it was just going to be a one-time thing. So basically like a one afternoon stand with a 13-year-old girl. Jesus. And so his wife was at work when this happened, and he had his mother and father-in-law babysitting his little 2-year-old kid while he was showing up to go meet the 13-year-old for sex. His excuse to them was like, oh, I'm just going to go run some errands. And what a twist and turn for them.
So when you guys called the police and the Rockville Centre Police Department showed up, like, I can't imagine like every interaction with the police departments across the country, because you do this all over the country. Right. I can't imagine they're always friendly, but how was it dealing with the Rockville Centre PD?
Most PDs are good, and Rockville Centre was great. The cops were very receptive to what we were doing. Obviously, they were very careful, made sure they had enough to arrest the guy, because it is New York. It's not Texas where I'm from, where they can just throw somebody in the cop car and throw them in jail for however long. Right. But the cop was awesome. He definitely wanted the pedo to get arrested, and we got what we wished for. And meeting the detectives and the police commissioner of Rockville, it was very awesome, very great people. And if you're living in Rockville, you have a great PD looking after you. So
yes, we do. We definitely do. And so when the officer shows up, what do you have to show them, or what can you show them to get this guy, I guess,
well,
arrested?
So Usually in a lot of states, it would be as simple as just kind of showing the messages and the pedo admits it in front of the cops, which is what happened today. And that was enough to at least put him in cuffs here in Rockville. And yeah, so the cops roll up, and basically before the cop says anything, I just tell Marvin, I'm like, hey man, so you're basically here to meet a 13-year-old. These messages are fair and accurate. And he just confirms everything. And so the cop has an idea of what's going on. And I think what officially got him charged was the cop seeing the penis pictures and Marvin asking who he thought was the underage kid for nudes. And obviously, when they see the video, he's going to confirm that those were in fact his accounts and he was in fact there to do all that stuff.
That's crazy. So how did the day end up? So I saw out my window that they took him away. What ended up happening?
Well, right after that, some presumably probably an illegal alien fucking gets in a car accident like right next to us.
Yeah, I have that on video too. Yes.
Yeah, that was an eventful one. But so we go to the PD after, and since we do so many of these, we do like 20 of these a month. I like to turn everything in as fast as possible so I don't get home to Houston and just forget it. Right. So we went to the PD, gave them all the messages, gave them all the accounts we used, and my camera guy only lives like 10 minutes from the PD, so we uploaded the video, and it's all turned into them.
That's crazy. How many of these do you think you do like over the course of a month, and then also like in your career? How many people have you think you've captured or caught?
I would say about 700.
Really?
700, yeah. So last year we did about, I think, over 250.
Wow.
Yeah,
well,
so.
Thank you.
No, appreciate the support. No, it's very easy to do. We've kind of fine-tuned a way to just do this efficiently. So in 2021, at the end of 2021, our biggest trip was 10 people caught in 2 weeks.
Wow.
And now, at the end of 2024, our biggest trip was 30 people caught in 3 weeks. So across many, many different states.
Right. That's crazy. How did you even get involved in this? Like what, I saw on one of these other podcasts you were on, you said you've always wanted to be a cop, which I thought was really cool. But like, what brought you to this?
Well, so when I was 19 years old, I was playing college football at Texas Southern. And by playing, I mean like listed on the roster. And, we had 3 weeks off going into summer workouts, and, I just kind of threw my schedule in the trash. Like, during the whole school year, it was like wake up at 5 a.m., go to sleep at 10 p.m., like every day. And then Saturdays, go to sleep at 1:30 in the morning. Just every, very, very like, biological clock, just all in tune. But then the last day of school hits for freshman year, and, I start eating ice cream, start eating nachos,
right.
Just completely just threw out the whole past year. And then those 3 weeks, staying up super late, like watching Chris Hansen and watching, and I've seen Chris Hansen before, but it was more like people like me were doing it, just kind of in flip-flops, sticking a phone in someone's face. I was like, no way, it's this common. So, me being like the adventurous kid I was, I made a fake account of a 15-year-old boy, and 30 minutes later, somebody wants to go meet him for sex. And, from there, it kind of took off. We learned what we got to do, and now we're here.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
So all these guys that you catch that end up like getting arrested,
right?
Like how many of them ended up, do you follow up? Do you know how many serve time or how many they just let go or?
Oh, absolutely. So usually when they get arrested, they very, very rarely get let go after that. Like, it's kind of the issue we run into is, what is it just them not getting arrested at all? Like when it actually goes through the court process, I mean, I think our evidence is pretty damn good. I mean, I think they're admitting to a lot of stuff on camera. I think the decoys are doing a great job. And I think the pedos are impulsive, who can't control themselves. So they also bury themselves too. And, so when it actually goes through the court process, very smooth. And I can only think of one that actually got thrown out of court, which was in South Carolina, which we'll talk about because we were not law enforcement. It was nothing to do with our actual evidence. Huh. And the main issue with them not being prosecuted is them not getting arrested in the first place.
Right. I guess there'll be a lot of parents probably watching this. I mean, anything that parents could like look out for, like are there any like telltale signs or like, I don't know, like anything some parents could to protect their kids with social media and their phones and.
Right. Well, I think every social media site's going to have pedos on there, no matter what. Like, there's not a quote unquote, clean one, I would say.
Right.
But there's a lot of features on these sites like Instagram, Roblox. Roblox is a big one child predators use, especially for very young kids. There's a way to turn off chat features for your own kids, so where they can't talk to anybody else. And I think that's like the biggest. There's no perfect solution, but I think that's the biggest way to just kind of like prevent this from happening. Just the most efficient way, I should say, optimal.
Interesting. Do you have any like statistics when it comes to like, because you've been doing this for a while, and you said you've caught a bunch of people. Are there any like, I don't know, any like crazy like skewed numbers where people are like places, or I don't know?
So Ohio definitely has the most pedophiles. Really? I know per capita, Oregon has the most when it comes to sex offenders and all that.
Okay.
And Oregon and New York are the only two states that I can think of that don't display all the sex offenders. Maybe Washington as well, but they don't display all the sex offenders, only like the quote unquote worst ones. I don't even know how you determine that.
Really? What do you mean like display? Like there's a...
So they're on the sex offender registry, like in Texas, for example. Any sex offender is on the registry, like publicly. And on New York, if you're like tier 1 or tier 2, then you're on the registry technically, but you're not displayed on the registry when people look it up.
That's crazy. So you could be, there's a sliding scale of how bad you are.
Right. And I don't keep statistics on what sex offenders like we catch. Like, I mean, I know they're sex offenders, but I don't keep like, this one was a tier 1, this one was a tier 2. Because in the end, they're all going to reoffend if they have the chance. I mean, there's no stopping these people. I compare them to like Energizer bunnies. Like basically if you put a wall in front of them or a cell around them, they'll stop because they can't go forward anymore. But as soon as you remove those barriers, they're just going to keep doing it again and again and again. Like, I mean, this trip alone, I guess since Christmas, we've caught, I want to say 3 sex offenders just since Christmas, and it's only like January 10th. Yeah, and I mean, it's so I mean, they're just everywhere. I mean, even these sex offenders, they use their real name online too. Like we caught a Daryl Meyer.
Really, they just don't care.
They don't give it. Yeah, no. We caught a Daryl Meyer in Moundsville, West Virginia. We caught him with child pornography, and he molested his stepdaughter from when she was 8 to 12 years old. That's why he was on the registry. And dude, he was using his real name to go message our 13-year-old decoy, like saying, "I want to have sex with you. I want to get you pregnant," and just no shame at all. So yeah,
that's wild. That's absolutely wild. Tell me about what happened. You said in the Carolinas.
So, Rockville PD did a tremendous job of arresting our guy, but South Carolina, and I mean the whole state, and it's a red state too, so they really have no excuses to be soft on crime.
Right.
And so South Carolina, the Attorney General has put out like a memo to all PDs saying, do not prosecute these cases, do not take these cases up that private citizens bring. And even, there's some state laws, like for example, in West Virginia, you have to be a law enforcement officer posing on the other end for our chat logs to be prosecuted.
Really?
Yeah. In New York, it can be like anybody, as long as they believe it's a minor. So that's why the guy was able to get arrested today. So Daryl Meyer, the sex offender we caught in West Virginia, he got arrested on the child pornography he admitted to, but not the chat logs. So he only got 1 felony instead of 2, which he should have got. But South Carolina, it's kind of a gray area with that law, and they haven't really tried. It's kind of like in between whether you have to be a cop or just can be anybody. So, the AG does not want any of these cases prosecuted that private citizens bring, and he's like, super conservative, tries to tout himself as this tough on crime attorney general. And I think it's all a facade, but we're going to be meeting with him on the 17th. We're going to see what's up because I made a Twitter post calling him the most pro-child rape attorney general in the country. And, I know it's like and I know it's like a harsh thing to say, but, the era, in my opinion, the era of nicely worded letters to politicians is over. You can't just, one, we pay them our tax dollars so we can abuse them as much as we possibly want. That's how I look at it. But, a nicely worded letter is going to get thrown in the fire, get thrown in the trash. So I had to call him a pro-child rapist to get his attention, and it worked. So we're going to be seeing him on the 17th. And, I've been in contact with the state reps in South Carolina. They're on board with what we're doing. They want to see the law change. So we'll see what's up.
That's crazy. I also I watched one of your earlier podcasts, and I found a couple of things interesting. You guys were talking about something like online profiles that have a slice of pizza on it.
Right.
Like, tell me a little about that. That's crazy because I know like all these symbols mean certain things. I guess I'm getting old, but like, what is that all about?
Marinara Man.
Yeah.
So, cheese pizza means CP. Do you know what CP stands for?
No.
Child porn.
Okay.
So
I'm glad I don't.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. That was a litmus test. We're going to see if we were doing our second bust of the day. When you see that pizza symbol online, because Pizzagate was a big thing some years ago, and I think Pizzagate was very real, but you see those cheese pizza symbols, you automatically know what they're into. So we've had busts where I talk to them for maybe a couple messages, but they have the pizza symbol. And if I find out who they are, I go to them anyway. We get them for child pornography. So, yeah, it's a very telling symbol. Whenever you see that pizza symbol online, it's nothing good. That's for sure.
That's wild. Is there anything else like that? Like people should be on the lookout for? Or I don't know, man. It's a whole new space. This is
so chicken means you're into underage boys.
Really?
Yes, and I mean there are some symbols. So like, and it's not really an emoji. I guess chicken and pizza are emojis you can actually type out. But there's another symbol that's like a swirl, for example. So we caught a guy, Cade Horton, in Midland, Texas, and we were on Grindr just looking at profiles, no homo, and we see Cade's profile on our decoy account, and usually they message us first, but in this case we messaged him first because we saw that little swirl symbol, which meant he was a boy lover, which is underage boy lover. So we reached out to him, not as a kid, but as a father with a kid, and he completely took the bait. And we approached him in person. He wanted to, he's telling me on the phone. I was posing as a dad. He's telling me on the phone how he's always wanted to sit in the back seat with a father's son and suck and just crazy shit like that. And, we approach him in person. For 40 minutes, me and my decoy, my boy decoy, are playing like as the father and son, getting him to say things on camera. Then we flip it on him, and he got so scared and worried, which was awesome. And he ends up admitting to tons of child pornography as young as babies and toddlers, and to molesting his little brother. And now the feds, so he got arrested that day, but now the feds are taking the case up, presumably because of the amount of child pornography he had.
That's wild. And what was his situation? Was he married, or like what was
Cade Horton? He was a 22-year-old freaking loser. But the young ones are the ones you got to watch out for. The young ones have access to pornography that some Facebook boomer can't access.
Right. That's nuts. Now I just want to take this conversation in a different direction. Like you being involved in everything you're involved in. Like you're young. You don't have any kids yet.
Yep, 24 years old.
So I don't know. What do you how do you see yourself in the future? Having kids?
Yeah, so we're going to have half Jew, half Italian babies.
I love it.
That's my girlfriend's Italian. And, I want to have as many kids as possible. Like, my motto is 5 acres and 5 kids. And, I know the world's a place, but, it's only going to get less up if, good people are brought into it and make a difference. So I want to play a part in that. And I want to make sure my family plays a part in that.
And your kids are going to, I guess, public school, and they're going to go through all the normal things all the normal kids go? Or?
We don't know all that yet.
Yeah,
it depends where we're living. If we're in like New York City, I don't want my kids getting transed out or anything. But if we're out in the country, which is the plan,
right.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I don't know yet.
All right. Well, I mean, anything else you'd like to tell? Because this is going to go into like the local Rockville groups. I'm going to put in the Rockville Centre groups. Anything you want to say to anybody? While you're here.
Well, Rockville, I love the town. I just heard of the name today, actually. Rockville Centre. I've just heard of Rockville Centre today, and I already love the place. And, I guess for New York, y'all aren't too bad. So we appreciate it. And thank you, Jason, for having me on. Really appreciate it. And, like I said at the beginning, Rockville Centre PD, very professional, very hardworking, and they give a shit, and that's awesome to see. So, yeah.
Well, listen, thank you for coming in, and thank you for coming here and doing what you do. You're doing God's work. And
thank you so much.
We appreciate you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.